Starting our list off at number 10 is the truck angel. A man in Michigan was sure he saw an angel after receiving a photo of what appeared to be one floating above his truck. Glenn Thorman claimed his motion-censored camera snapped the picture, which he then immediately sent to his wife and pastor of his church. Speaking with a local news station, Thorman explained and he said, "That's an angel." And I was just blown away. I couldn't wait to send it to my wife and send it to Pastor Daniel Mose. I said I got an angel and my camera took a picture of an angel. Mo spoke with the outlet as well, telling them I went like, whoa, and I texted him back, "That's an angel." There wasn't any doubt in my mind that we were looking at something supernatural. With that being said, others thought they may have an explanation for the phenomena, with Joe Clark of Glass Lake Photography claiming it could just be a moth. LOL. It definitely does look moth shaped in the first photo, I'm not gonna lie. You can kind of clearly see what it looks like, or it could be interpreted as wings and a head, but at the same time, since it's not clearly in focus, and since it is what it is, there may be room for interpretation. We don't know.
Now at number 9, angel in the skies. A man named Lee Howdle was walking in Peak District National Park in England when he caught something on his camera that many are speculating could be more than just a weather phenomenon. Being a photographer, it's likely he went out with the intention of snapping some interesting photos, but he got more than he could have ever imagined. Explaining what happened, he told a local news outlet, I quote, "My shadow looked huge. It was in the circular rainbow. Took some photos of it and carried on walking. It was like an angel in the sky over the hills. It was quite magical." According to the UK's Met Office, this is known as a Brock Inspector or Mountain Inspector, and is listed in the top 10 spookiest weather conditions. The Met's website explains this effect is produced when an observer stands above the upper surface of a cloud on a mountain or high ground with the sun behind them. When they view their shadow, the light is reflected back in such a way that a spooky circular glory appears around the point directly opposite the sun. As always, people try to come up with logical explanations for illogical situations, and it seems that this could be a case of that. Although there is a scientific explanation, I don't know. I think maybe we're just trying to make ourselves believe it's science when maybe it's something more.
At number 8 we have answered prayers. A 48-year-old evangelical minister in Charleston, West Virginia woke up in the middle of the night and felt the need to pray. Upon doing so, he claims a literal sign from God came to him in the form of an angel. On August 4th, 2013, around 3:46 AM, you can see what appears to be an angelic-like figure appear on Charles Shelton's security cameras. As per the Daily Mail, the light appeared outside and passed into Shelton's living room twice, fluttering like it had wings. Shelton explained he's seen angels on 2 previous occasions, but this time round didn't tell anyone until he realized he had to. I was astonished. The Lord revealed to me that this was his angel and his presence. Praying for his neighborhood and those affected with addiction, Shelton is a believer. This sign was enough to show everyone that no matter what's happening, it's for a good reason. Crime has been growing for a long time. You hear about shootings, killings, and vandalism. When somebody sees angels, why can't we just let people know? God's presence is in the neighborhood. No wonder how rough it may get, God is still in the midst. I don't care what critics say, I know what happened. I trust you, Shelton, but I wasn't there, so I'm not gonna completely trust you.
On to number 7, Bruce Van Natta. The man was once a diesel mechanic who worked on those big heavy trucks, you know, those transport trucks with 18 wheels, those bad boys. Unfortunately, one day while working on a truck and winding down for the day, the driver of the truck asked Bruce to check one more thing. What should have been a routine check ended up with Bruce being crushed by the truck after one of the jacks holding up the front of the truck gave in. Bruce was under the truck feet first, meaning the lower half of his torso was literally being crushed. This led to him having an out-of-body experience where Bruce saw not only himself and the driver who was trying to lift the truck, but 2 angelic-like figures on each side of his body. He went on to explain 2 voices in his head were telling him conflicting things. One to just close your eyes and relax and you'll go to heaven. The other was telling him to fight if he wanted to live, but it would be no easy task. Bruce would end up making it to hospital and recovering, even though he was told his abdomen was crushed and he only had a year to live. Now he's sharing his story with the world. He wrote a book about his experience and started a website trying to enlighten the rest of the world about his out-of-body experience and his experience with angels.
Filling in number 6 slot is the Pink Angel. In 2013, following the new Pope's first appearance at the Vatican, a pink-like angelic figure was seen in the skies of Florida. As you can imagine, people were split in regards to what caused the angelic-like cloud to form, as some genuinely believed it was a sign, and others were quick to dismiss the idea it was related to religion at all. One woman told a local outlet, "Simply amazing. God bless our new Pope. May the Holy Spirit and all the angels and saints be with us all through this time of transition within the Holy Church." While another skeptic man asked, why do people always have to look for religion in everything? Considering how the angel-looking cloud formed just hours after the new Pope greeted everyone, I understand why people thought it could have been a sign, even if the cloud formed on the other side of the world.
Halfway at 5, Aaron Potter. First diagnosed with leukemia in 2007, life was incredibly tough for young Potter. After beating cancer twice, it came back a third time, and this required Aaron to receive a second bone marrow transplant. Just days before she underwent surgery, Aaron was outside playing with sparklers, and her mother Jen took a photo. While looking through the photos, Jen noticed a figure behind Aaron who Jen believes resembles Mother Mary. After Aaron's successful surgery, she would be cancer-free, and Jen, along with her husband Kevin, genuinely believed there was some kind of divine intervention that saved their little girl. Regardless of what it was, I'm just happy that Erin is healthy and wish her all the best.
Now number 4 is The Angel on the Plane. This story here is about a 7-year-old boy named Asher who loves to snap photos on his mother's phone. On a flight back from visiting his older brother, Asher, while sitting on a plane waiting to take off, decided he wanted to take some pictures. As the plane started to take off, there was significant turbulence which made Asher incredibly uncomfortable, prompting his mother to give him the phone to snap some pictures. Thinking it would be a pretty good distraction, Asher started taking the photos, and his mom eventually got the phone back and started to go through them and delete them as she usually does. However, she stumbled upon one photo in which she saw what appears to be an angel. In fact, she believes it was Asher's guardian angel looking over him, and although she admits she'll never know for sure what it was, she believes it happened for a reason.
On to number 3, Sports Angel. On November 7th, 2009, Doug Luatter was supposed to coach a youth football game, and his son Kyle was going to be the assistant coach. Unfortunately, on the way to the game, Kyle would be involved in a fatal accident. However, following the game, a man would take a photo of his grandson and teammate, which would later make the local news. An image of a white figure appeared to be beside the two boys in the field, and after seeing the story about the photo, Doug, his family, and many others believe that Kyle did end up making his way to the game. Although he understands why people would dismiss the idea that it is Kyle in the form of an angel being seen in the photo, he's firm in his belief that it was the sign he was asking for and doesn't feel the need to question it any further.
Filling our number 2 slot is Chelsea Banton. Born 5 weeks prematurely, Chelsea unfortunately grew up with numerous developmental disabilities and was in and out of the hospital for most of her youth. At age 14, she was hospitalized with pneumonia, and it appeared that Chelsea didn't have much longer. Having to make an incredibly heartbreaking and tough decision, her mother decided she wanted the doctors to pull the plug, keeping Chelsea alive, claiming it would be unfair and selfish to have her go on living the way she was living. However, it seems someone or something had other plans, as Chelsea remained in stable condition even hours after the plug was pulled. While nurses looked at the monitor outside of her room, they saw what appeared to be a figure, but when they went to the door, they saw nothing. Other hospital staff and even Chelsea's mum saw the figure on the screen, but nothing in person. Remarkably, Chelsea would make a complete recovery, and many claim it was an angel who saved her life and who appeared on screen. Unfortunately, Chelsea did end up passing away at just 21 years old on November 28, 2015, but will forever be known as Chelsea Angel Girl Banton.
At number 1, Angel Clouds. A man in South Carolina couldn't believe what he was seeing and immediately started to film what he believed was an angel in the sky. On October 20th, 2016, Corey Huron filmed a cloud which appeared to be in the shape of an angel, and he claims it was definitely a sign from up above. During a time in which he was questioning his spirituality, Corey claims this was a direct message for him to keep the faith, telling CNN the wind didn't seem to disturb it and it remained in the same place for 15 to 20 minutes. At the time of this recording, the video has been shared over 300,000 times, and Corey also received tons of messages from people all over the world thanking him for sharing the video. He told CNN, "It's just a blessing, what an uplift this has been for so many people."
Number 10, Metatron. I don't think there's a character hated more than Metatron in the supernatural world. Metatron was the scribe in the original scripture. Metatron is an angelic being mentioned in the Babylonian Talmud, Kirkasani, and in the books of Enoch, that he is the highest angel and scribe to God. When Sam and Dean in the show encountered him in the series, he appeared like a harmless angel. He agreed to help them translate the angel tablet that they attained. By the way, I'm not finished watching Supernatural because I'm a loser and I don't have time, so I'm spoiling this for myself for all of you. Love you. Anyways, Metatron had ulterior motives and cast all the angels out of heaven using the tablet. He killed the one, the only, sweet baby-faced Dean, so yeah. We hate him. Interestingly enough though, one biblical study source claims that Metatron is simply a myth and that he wasn't actually real. But like, okay, sure. Anyways, let's move on. Number 9, Zachariah. There's a lot about him in the Bible, but the one we are talking about today is the one again from Supernatural. The show at times made it pretty hard to side with any of the angels, especially Zachariah. Not only was he a bully, but he might as well have been a demon. This guy wanted all hell to break loose. He was one of the top guys, the head honchos, had been alive for 6 millennia, was supposed to protect humanity, but chose to not fight against Lilith because he wanted the end of the world to happen. He wanted millions billions and billions of innocent people to die in order to cleanse the earth. Doesn't that sound like a dictator I'm not allowed to mention on YouTube? Just saying. Number 8, Uriel. The archangel Uriel is probably one of those people that if he showed up would not mean good news for anyone. Which is kind of funny because you thought that like if an angel showed up it was like a good thing. Apparently in the book of Enoch this guy was pissed that a bunch of angels, the Watchers, we'll talk about them later, were taking up some human lovers, therefore creating giant hybrid offspring. Uriel desired to rid the world of them, so he convinced God to let him take care of it. So he's the one that flooded the world. Yeah, he flooded it. Noah's Ark? Yeah, that was him. The women were apparently transformed into sirens. If that's not enough to know that this guy doesn't mean good news, he's also the main messenger of the apocalypse. Yay! So if he shows up, run! Run away! If you can, probably can't. He'll out chase you with his wings. Anyways. Number 7, cherubims. Wipe the adorably cute baby idea you have in your head. Cherubims in reality were actually terrifying. Once I'm done explaining how they are actually described in the Bible, you are going to be just as confused as I am. Cherubim were absolutely terrifying to behold. Like, they sound like they were demons. They had 4 faces, one of an ox, a lion, a man, and an eagle, and had 4 wings, and they moved on some kind of wheel within a wheel device that was like covered in eyes. Oh, and apparently they looked like they were also on fire. I don't know. The image we have of cherubims today, the cute chubby baby ones, were a copycat of the Greek and Roman depiction of Cupid. But yeah, I guess who would want a picture of the 4-headed monstrosity on their wall or in a church in stained glass? No one is the answer. Number 6, the Watchers. According to Daniel 4:13, Nebuchadnezzar had a dream after which he remarked, quote, "I saw in the visions of my head while on my bed that there was a Watcher, a holy one, coming down from heaven," unquote. The Watchers were a group of angels who, well, they watched. They did that pretty well. They served as the eyes of God and reportedly got into some mischief that you'd assume demons would be good at. Like, you didn't even know angels were lustful at all. You know the destruction Uriel caused above? Well, the Watchers may have been the reason why. The Watchers apparently got so hot and bothered looking at us hot earth women, who could blame them, that they were like, we gotta get some of that. Their human relations caused some strange after effects though. Their offspring were bloodthirsty giants over 1,000 feet tall and they just kept having them. Like, I really hope they started out like really small because making anyone give birth to that is a crime in itself. Anyways, Uriel drowned them along with all the other innocent people of the world, so I don't know who's worse in that scenario. Number 5, Gabriel. Sorry guys. The Bible makes it pretty clear that it's probably a good idea to fear archangels because, well, they are anything but the sweet and pure images you saw at your childhood church. More like warriors that go out to punish. I know, I thought Satan did that job, but apparently not. You got punishment from both ends. Great. Gabriel at one time was given the task of announcing to Zachariah the birth of John the Baptist, but Zachariah didn't want to believe him and put a stink up about it, so Gabriel, obviously having a short fuse and a very inflated sense of self, was like, quote, "I am Gabriel, I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and bring you this good news. But now, because you did not believe my words, you will become mute, unable to speak, until the days these things occur," unquote. I don't know what he was talking about, but the dude literally pulled an Ursula on the poor guy just because he didn't believe him right away. I would say that's not very angelic, but he is an archangel, so. Number 4, the weeping angels. Okay, I know. Hey, aliens, angels, look, there are plenty of moments in the Bible that potentially depict the two were one and the same, and we're gonna do a video about it, hint hint. Please spare me one nerdy moment where I make a Doctor Who reference. Just one, okay, just one time. I'm still talking about angels, so it counts. They could be in the Bible, I don't know. Don't Blink, anyways. Don't Blink is one of my absolute favorite episodes of Doctor Who as it introduced one of the most terrifying creatures in the universe, the Weeping Angels. The Weeping Angels disguise themselves as statues you'd see in graveyards or gardens, always seen weeping over a loved one with their hands over their eyes. But blink, turn away for just a second and you'll wish you never had. The angels feed off of residual energies, and they are creatures from another world and are known as the Lonely Assassins. They are quantum locked and therefore can't hurt you when they're being observed, but turn away and you're dead. They send you back in time, and the day you left becomes the day that you die. Number 3, JOPHIEL. Based on the whole Eve and the apple thing, I'm honestly not sure what God had planned for us if he didn't want human beings to have knowledge. Like, were we just gonna be in his own like perfect Sims world that he built walls around and then like laugh as we just keep running into the same corners? Like, was that what was gonna happen? Like, you know? But God did not want us eating the apple. Yet we did. But it was the angel JOPHIEL who threw us out of the Garden of Eden to let us fend for ourselves. He had a massive sword made of fire, and when Eve ate the apple, they were the first to ever face the wrath of his supernatural power. All because they eventually wanted to have some agency and maybe understand how things work. Sorry about it. Number 2, Lucifer. I know, Lucifer's the devil. He's not an angel anymore. Well, technically he still is. He just fell a few feet. Get it? Fallen angel. Okay, whatever. Lucifer being, I don't know, king of hell, could easily scare any demon he came across. Lucifer was cast out of heaven for defying God's orders, even though at one time he was depicted as God's most perfect angel. He was so beautiful he could barely be looked upon. But he became corrupted by pride and took up arms against God when he no longer wanted to serve him. He, along with the rest of his fallen angels, now rule hell and punish all those condemned to damnation. Yeah, sounds like a guy you don't want to mess with. Sounds like the wrong kind of angel. And last but not least, SAMAEL. Ever lose a loved one in an awful way, or just in general? Of course, everyone has. According to Christian and Jewish lore, SAMAEL is the angel that brought death to the world. He is also known as the accuser, the seducer, and the destroyer, and is commonly associated with the Grim Reaper. SAMAEL apparently went down to kill baby Jacob while he was still in the womb before Michael stopped him, which is a pretty awful thing to do. His angelic job is to test humanity and attempt to seduce humanity towards sin. Like, that's what his job is. Some say he is synonymous with the devil himself, while others say he is just an angel who functions under God. If humanity fails Big G's judgment, they send good old SAMAEL. Sounds like a pretty scary angel to encounter even if they aren't a demon.
In our number 10 spot we have AZRAEL. AZRAEL is the archangel that helps assist beings from this life into the afterlife. He is known by another very common name, the Grim Reaper. I can imagine the idea of him would be terrifying though because of his purpose, but also because he is depicted as having 4 faces. Oh, and for some reason he has eyes and tongues all over his body. Why? I haven't been able to find a reason as to why he's been depicted this way. I can only assume that it's because someone once imagined this angel eating up people and keeping their eyes and tongues. Anyways, this is definitely a seemingly scary angel in appearance. If you're liking this video so far, go ahead and smash that subscribe button so you're recommended more content like this. In our number 9 spot we have SERAPHIM. SERAPHIM is an angel that holds one of the highest ranks. It is said that SERAPHIM has 6 wings, 4 to cover their head and feet, and 2 to fly. They are said to be angels that worship God and surround his throne. They sound kind of nice and cool, and I'm sure if they're real, they are, but it doesn't take away from the scariest thing about them, which is that they are on fire. Yes, just like you imagine the gates of hell. That is the reason why people are scared of them and why they are too scary even for the Bible. They are allegedly on fire because they are fired up with love for the Lord. Yeah, that sort of makes sense, but then it also doesn't at all. I wonder who was the first person to depict them in this way. I can imagine the inventor in their room thinking this up. Alas, I am brilliant. These angels are on fire. They're fired up with love for God. Indeed, I am clever. In our number 8 spot, we have the Flying Angel Man. Hey, were any of you a fan of the brilliant show called Heroes? Well, I was, and this clip that I'm about to show you reminds me of Nathan the Flying Man. People have called this clip to be of an angel, an alien, or some kind of supernatural being. Whatever it is, it would be too scary for the Bible. Here we have a flying angel man. He's on the ground and then suddenly he's up in the air, lingers for a minute, and then flies away. Tell me this is a fake.
How is this real? Honestly, it's so hard to believe that I bet you it is real. Anyways, this flying angel man was caught on tape in Rome, and the thought of a bunch of beings similar to him walking among us is scary. So let's move on. In our number 7 spot, we have the Dominion Angels. The Dominion Angels are not too scary for the Bible per se, but probably the thought of them is scary for the people that have committed sinful acts in the Bible. The reason being because the Dominion Angels are beings that bring about justice. They serve you karma on a golden platter. They bring balance and order and carry out judgments against sinful situations in the fallen world. The idea of them is pretty nerve-wracking. Anyone that suffers from having a guilty conscience should be terrified of them. These angels are just psychologically terrifying. In our number 6 spot, we have Lucifer, the devil, the fallen angel himself. Lucifer is probably the scariest angel in the Bible, and honestly, the thought of such evil feels like it probably shouldn't be in the Bible. But honestly, we learn our best lessons when we're faced with adversity, so perhaps the stories about him needed to be told so people could learn what not to do. Lucifer is the devil, who was once an angel that was casted out of heaven. He is said to lurk in the shadows, taunting humans and trying to convince them to commit sins, just like the snake does in the story of Adam and Eve. He disguises himself as an angel of light, which makes him even more dangerous. You may think you're dealing with someone loving, but then bam, it could be the devil tricking you. He is known for his trickery. In our number 5 spot, we have Abzethibu. Abzethibu is another fallen angel and demon. He is mentioned in the Testament of Solomon, and apparently he is an important demon in hell. Apparently his treason left him with one red wing, which is honestly frightening on its own. And you know, it's red. Just know. Apparently he went to Egypt at one point and helped harden the Pharaoh's heart and convinced his advisors to pursue fleeing Israelite slaves. Because of this, he ended up drowning with the army in the Red Sea. It is said that he will one day return, but honestly, I thought he was already dead because he's an angel, so how did he end up dying in the Red Sea? Perhaps he came to Earth as a human. It's all very confusing. Anyways, he sounds scary. In our number 4 spot, we have Semyaza. Semyaza is a fallen angel who is known as the leader of the Watchers. The Watchers had one purpose. It was to watch over humans. One purpose, and they got distracted by beautiful women, of course. They fell in love with women and ended up procreating with them. The offspring were just horrible and started, killing and eating people, and that put humanity at risk. Oh, and they were also giants. So there's that. Semyaza was the leader of this angelic brethren. As time passed, these god/angelic beings and demigod beings took over Earth and became extremely corrupt. Fun fact, it has been said that Christians in the Middle East have been known to call television Semyaza. In our number 3 spot, we have FURFUR. FURFUR is the great Earl of Hell and the ruler of 26 legions of demons. That's a lot of demons. He is known as a liar. Which, doesn't that just go hand in hand with the fact that he's a demon? I just can't imagine any demons feeling compelled to tell the truth ever. Well, anyways, apparently he is a liar unless compelled to enter a magic triangle where he gives true answers to every question. He apparently has a rough voice, which sure, makes sense. He just came from the fiery gates of hell. I bet the smoke doesn't do well for the vocal cords. He is known for creating storms, thunder, and lightning. And here I thought thunder and lightning was just, God angry. Anyone else told that tale as a kid? He is depicted as a deer or winged deer. I'll probably never look at deer the same again. In our number 2 spot, we have Wormwood. This angel feels like perhaps he's been hanging around Earth for the last few years. I'm referring to the fallen angel that is Wormwood, that is an angel who brings plagues upon the Earth during the end times. His name means bitterness. The book of Revelation speaks about him and says, Wormwood is a star angel that falls from heaven at the trumpet blast of the 3rd angel, and it poisons many waters of the earth, causing many to die. Apparently, Wormwood is a metaphor for divine judgment, as if plagues are brought onto the world to wash away humans and sin. Dark. Yeah, this guy is definitely such a scary thought, especially after the last 2 years that we've all been through. Finally, in our number 1 spot, we have Amy. Yes, there is a fallen angel by the name of Amy. Amy apparently is the president of hell. Amy in hell is referred to as a he who initially appears as flames but then turns into a human. So Amy is fire? That's confusing and an interesting thought. Imagine fire had a soul and its name is Amy. Apparently Amy teaches liberal art, naturally. So random. Amy rules over 36 legions of demons, and yeah, Amy definitely sounds too scary for the Bible.
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have cherubim. When we think of cherub, we normally think of like a Cupid type character, like a sweet little baby angel flying around, you know, nice stuff. Turns out, however, that is not at all what these babies are described as being. In Ezekiel 1:5-11, it says, "As I looked, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, and a great cloud with brightness around it, and fire flashing forth continually, and in the midst of the fire, as it were, gleaming metal. And from the midst of it came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had a human likeness, but each had 4 faces, and each of them had 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like the soles of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like burnished bronze. Under their wings on their 4 sides they had human hands, and the 4 had their faces and their wings thus. Their wings touched one another. Each of them went straight forward without turning as they went. As for the likeness of their faces, each had a human face. The 4 had the face of a lion on the right side, the 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and the 4 had the face of an eagle. Such were their faces." I'm not sure where we got this flying baby idea from, but honestly it seems to be a lot better than whatever those creatures would look like. In our number 9 spot today we have Gabriel. So in many of the texts, angels are like the messengers of God, but they also have their own powers and abilities that they can use as they see fit. In one particular story, Archangel Gabriel is sent to announce the birth of John the Baptist to Zachariah. But when Gabriel does this, he gets a less than enthusiastic response from Zachariah. In fact, this response was one of protest, and Gabriel simply did not like that. He said, "I am Gabriel, I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. But now, because you did not believe my words, you will become mute, unable to speak until the day these things occur." I guess the lesson here is to listen to an angel if it appears to you and tells you that you're gonna have a kid? I'm not sure. At the end of the day, it's a bit of a dark way to deliver the good news. In our number 8 spot today we have the Ophanim. So these creatures, just in general, are very strange. I mean, they're actually the wheels that are seen in Ezekiel's vision of the chariot, so they're like creatures, but also wheels. One of the Dead Sea Scrolls classifies these guys as angels, but there's a section in the Book of Enoch where they're classified as celestial beings who never sleep and instead guard the throne. So while these creatures aren't necessarily terrifying in their actions, they're definitely creepy as heck in their appearance. They are called the many-eyed ones for a reason. It is said that these wheels have 4 faces and way too many eyes. Imagine having to ride in the chariot. Like, that's so terrifying and absolutely uncomfortable. No thank you. In our number 7 spot today we have Raphael. Raphael is one of the true archangels and is the 4th of the oldest of the 5. He is a powerful healer, a guardian angel, and a great fighter, so you might be wondering why he landed a spot on today's list. Well, there's just one story in particular that I really wanted to talk about, and that story comes from the Book of Enoch. Raphael is in a battle with the demon Azazel. Raphael is able to defeat the demon, but decides to subject him to a fate worse than death. The story writes, quote, "Bind Azazel hand and foot and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert which is in Duadel, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire." If that wasn't clear enough, Raphael tied this demon up, buried him alive in a hole full of rocks in the middle of the desert, where he just now gets to wait until he can be thrown into a fire and burned alive. In our number 6 spot today we have the angel of death. Within the Hebrew Bible there are many stories where the Lord sent his angel of death to wipe out any enemies of the Israelites. I mean, one of these stories is the one that is behind what we now know as Passover, and while that is the most famous example, there is apparently a larger one that took place. In 701 BC it is said that this angel was able to save Jerusalem from an invasion by Sennacherib's army, but it was not without the loss of life, of course. If unfamiliar, Sennacherib, whose name means sin has replaced
against the brothers, was the king of the Neo-Assyrian Empire from 705 BC until 681 BC. In the end, it is said that in order to save Jerusalem from the invasion, the Angel of Death was responsible for wiping out 185,000 men completely in just one night. In our number 5 spot today, we have Abizthabu. This fallen angel is described in the Testament of Solomon, which I know is not really regarded in the canon of the scripture, but I had to include him. He is said to be one of the angels that followed Beelzebub upon his fall from heaven. He is the sin of pride and is known for his ability to lead people astray. He is most easily summoned in the month of July during the 5th hour of the night, so careful. After his fall from grace, he was left with only one red wing and was condemned to hell. He is said to have control over the imprisoned souls of Tartarus and plays a primary role in the demon world. He himself claims that he was once an angel in what is referred to as the first heaven, and after his fall he began to roam Egypt. During his time in Egypt, he met with Moses and the Israelites during the Exodus and opposed them. This is when he decided to harden the Pharaoh and his advisors' heart and convince them to pursue those who were fleeing. He went with the Egyptian army in pursuit of the Israelites, but the collapsing Red Sea crushed and drowned him, which left him imprisoned in a pillar of water. Despite being trapped, Beelzebub says that he will return for conquest. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Seraphim. These creatures are ones that appear in the book of Isaiah, and their name translates to burning ones. That's bad enough, but when you find out that they are flying serpents, things get even weirder and more unbelievable. These creatures, despite their terrifying appearance, are the highest ranking celestial being in the hierarchy of angels, so the good news is there are creatures on this list who are doing worse things, but the way these guys look, it's really just not what we think of when we think of angels. These flying, burning snakes don't just have one set of wings and instead have 6 wings sprouting from their backs. Only one set of wings is used to fly, while the others are for covering their faces and feet. They are said to just fly around telling God how great he is, while using their other wings to hide their faces and their feet because they feel as though they are unworthy of looking at God and they don't want him to see any of their imperfections. In our number 3 spot today, we have Uriel. There are stories and texts that say that fallen angels were mating with humans and creating this sort of race of giants. Personally, I think that sounds kind of cool, but according to the text, people did not like that at all, and that includes the archangel Uriel. He was not the only one who was against this, but he was only one of the 4 who spoke up about it and asked for some sort of divine intervention. Also, it's not like he felt anyone was innocent in this mix. Humans were looked on as being just as guilty as the angels, and ignorance was not an excuse. This is all what led to the great flood of the earth in order to rid the world of giants and quote-unquote cleanse the earth. The text says, "Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits assuming many different forms are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens." In our number 2 spot today, we have Belial. Belial is one of the crowned princes of hell, but he is also known as hell's brightest fire, evil's match, the king of evil, and he is the personification of wickedness in the Jewish faith. He is mighty and powerful, and this is likely due to the fact that he was created right after Lucifer, which is of course part of the reason why Belial belongs to his order. Belial was once an angel, but after his fall from grace he became a demon of lies and guilt, and he possesses the ability to induce any type of sin, but his favorite of the sins is lust. Belial is so evil that it's said he started a civil war in hell. While still an angel just before his fall in the War of Heaven, Belial slayed numerous angels, and as a demon, just in general, he would slay huge demonic armies that attempted to make any moves against him or any of the other 7 great kings. In our number 1 spot today, we have Lucifer. Lucifer was an angel before he fell from grace. In the book of Isaiah, it says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" Lucifer is now the ruler of hell, and he commands an entire army of sinners and demons, and he even tried to organize an uprising against God. So, I think it's pretty clear exactly why he is a terrifying entity. He also uses his power to send terrible people to Earth in order to terrorize everyone, as well as to try and tempt non-sinners into the dark side. It is said that Lucifer also might just be the one who is responsible for the original sins that were seen in the Garden of Eden. Some believe that he is the snake who placed the temptation there.